Right now in Good Morning America, first look, breaking news, Poland, a U.S. ally and member of NATO, on alert, scrambling air defenses after it says Russian drones violated its airspace. Is Vladimir Putin testing the NATO alliance?
Growing concern about the U.S. economy, the troubling trend in the job market, and the growing income gap between men and women. Men getting pay raises, women not.
The stunning video, cargo containers plunging into the water at this busy California port. What investigators are now saying.
Two gruesome murder cases in Charlotte and New York City, putting the spotlight on repeat offenders and why they were let back onto the street.
Allegations of a cover-up, how former workers at Facebook claim the company ignored evidence of children being harmed online.
The man accusing billionaire actor and producer Tyler Perry of sexual assault breaks his silence, what he claims happened inside Perry's home.
The UFO video presented on Capitol Hill that's turning heads.
And we hear from the family.
Easy.
Stunned when a wild boar went hog wild, crashing into their home.
From ABC News, this is Good Morning America, First Look.
Good Wednesday morning, everyone. I'm Elizabeth Schulze.
And I'm Perry Rustin. We begin with breaking news, what could be a major escalation in the showdown with Vladimir Putin over the war in Ukraine.
Neighboring Poland, a U.S. ally and member of NATO, says that Russian drones violated its airspace overnight during an attack on Ukraine. The Polish government calling this an act of aggression and urging people living in certain regions near the border to stay home. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio has been following this all night. Nicole, good morning.
Well, Elizabeth, Polish and NATO air defenses were scrambled overnight. Poland says some drones were shot down, forcing air traffic in part of the country to be suspended. This morning, Poland on high alert after drones from a wave of Russian attacks in neighboring Ukraine reportedly crossed the border. Polish and NATO air defenses were scrambled to shoot down the drones. People in 3 regions of Poland near the Ukraine border being urged to stay home. The Polish government calling the incident an act of aggression that posed a real threat to the safety of our citizens, adding that its forces remain fully prepared for immediate response. It comes less than a week after Russian President Vladimir Putin traveled to China, showing unity with leaders of China and North Korea. Since that meeting, Russia has staged its largest aerial attack on Ukraine since the war began. U.S. Senator Dick Durbin responding overnight, saying Vladimir Putin is testing our resolve to protect Poland and the Baltic nations. As tensions rise in Eastern Europe, they're also rising in the Middle East after Israel launched an airstrike into Qatar, a U.S. ally. Israel saying it was targeting leaders of Hamas.
Oh my God.
Israel calling the strike entirely justified following a deadly bus stop shooting in Jerusalem. But Hamas calling the strike on Qatar a failure, saying it failed to kill a single leader, instead killing security guards and the son of a Hamas leader. The White House acknowledging it got a heads up about the attack, but not soon enough to warn Qatar.
A U.S. official telling ABC News that Israel did give the U.S. advance warning it planned to strike Hamas, but not where or when. The official insisting, though, it wasn't sufficient enough to adequately warn regional partners.
President Trump saying the attack on Qatar does not help the U.S. or Israel.
I was very unhappy about it, very unhappy about every aspect.
And back to Poland, Secretary of State Marco Rubio has reportedly been briefed on the situation, but neither the State Department nor the Kremlin issued any immediate comment. Perry.
Nicole, thank you. We will have more from Eastern Europe as it becomes available. Also breaking overnight, a judge has temporarily blocked President Trump from firing Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook. The judge says Cook can keep doing her job as her lawsuit plays out in court, adding Trump has not given a legally permissible cause for her removal. Trump wants to dismiss Cook over mortgage fraud allegations. She has not been charged with any crime. Her lawyer says the ruling reaffirms the importance of safeguarding the Federal Reserve's independence in making monetary policy.
Meantime, troubling news about the economy. Fewer jobs have been created in the last year than we thought. And while the average man is enjoying a pay raise, the typical woman is not.
This morning, for the first time on record, the pay gap between men and women has grown wider for 2 consecutive years. New data from the Census Bureau shows women working full-time last year were paid just 81 cents for every $1 men earned, down from 83 cents the previous year. And while men's wages went up nearly 4% in the last year, women's wages did not change significantly. Overall, income gains for the typical American household in 2024 were negated by higher prices due to inflation.
I think the economy's weakening. Whether that is on the way to recession or just weakening, I don't know.
Yesterday, JP Morgan CEO sounding the alarm, responding to a different economic figure, a bombshell number about the jobs market. Revised data shows the economy added 911,000 fewer jobs over the 12 months ending in March than previously estimated. The White House blaming the Biden administration and casting doubt on the Bureau of Labor Statistics, which compiled the report.
This makes it very clear that President Trump inherited a much worse economy by the Biden administration than ever reported. And it also proves that the Federal Reserve is holding our monetary policy far too restrictive. Interest rates are too high.
Despite President Trump saying tariffs will boost U.S. manufacturing in the long term, the short term is growing more uncertain, with 12,000 manufacturing jobs lost last month alone. Still, there is good news. Stocks are up. Wall Street hitting new records, fueled by expectations that the Federal Reserve will begin cutting interest rates next week. And gas prices are heading down, now taking the smallest bite out of American paychecks since 2005.
So when it comes to the health of the economy, many analysts are voicing concerns about the uncertainty caused by tariffs and the impact of immigration raids.
Crews at the port of Long Beach in California have been working to stabilize hundreds of shipping containers after dozens of them fell off a cargo ship that just arrived from China. Look at this video falling right into the water. Investigators say the ship may have been listing moments before the containers fell.
It looks like dominoes. It looks like once one portion started to fall, then more fell. Look at how they're teetering right on the edge there. This is the backside of the ship.
One or two would be an accident, just getting a little too fast with the crane, but something like this is probably a major error somewhere.
Crews used a high-pressure hose to keep those containers from floating away.
Immigration raids are underway in Chicago, codenamed Operation Midway Blitz. About 300 federal agents are sweeping through the city under orders to track down members of the Trendy Agua street gang. ABC's Pierre Thomas was on the ground for some of those arrests. Agents say the gang members are selling guns.
Separate from the immigration raids and the Trump administration's crackdown on crime, two separate and gruesome murder cases are highlighting concerns about repeat offenders being put back on the streets. This morning, two horrific crimes are putting a spotlight on repeat offenders and raising questions about the U.S. justice system. In New York City, an urgent manhunt overnight for the man police say murdered an elderly couple and set their home on fire after the couple let him inside to charge his phone. The suspect, identified as Jamal McGriff, has a 30-year criminal record and was out on parole after serving time for robbery.
He then failed to register as a sex offender in November of 2024, which should have violated his parole, and he is also wanted by the NYPD for two other recent robberies committed in Manhattan.
Meanwhile, in North Carolina, 34-year-old DeCarlos Brown now faces federal charges in the stabbing death of Irina Zarutska on a commuter train in Charlotte. Brown, who has a long criminal record and a history of mental health issues, was free on cashless bail, a policy President Trump has condemned.
This cashless bail started a wave in our country where a killer kills somebody and is out on the street by the afternoon.
Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche claims liberal policies allowed Brown to remain on the street.
This city failed her. Like other very blue state cities in this country, there's these laws that exist that let people who should be in prison out.
But former Governor Roy Cooper, a Democrat now running for Senate, accuses Republicans of using the tragedy to score political points instead of focusing on funding local police. Zarutska's family issuing a statement last night demanding a full investigation into the circumstances leading up to Irina's death, including lapses in security protocols and failures within the public transportation system. If convicted, DeCarlos Brown could face the death penalty.
Time now to look at your Wednesday weather.
Good morning. Another day of occasional showers and thunderstorms across Florida. Some minor coastal flooding from the mid-Atlantic into the New York City area. Also a little bit of light rain. Some summer warmth over the middle of the country. And then a flood threat from northern California all the way to parts of Montana. It's actually knocking down the wildfire smoke, but still some pockets of heavy smoke from Washington and Idaho and near the Garnet Fire. In terms of Kiko, moving away from Hawaii later today, but still some rough surf and rip currents all the way from Maui to Kauai. It could be some waves of 10 to 15 feet. That's your forecast. I'm ABC News meteorologist Lee Goldberg.
Coming up, the change coming to Girl Scout cookies.
But first, allegations of a cover-up, how former workers at Facebook claim the company ignored evidence of children being harmed online.
And new details about the body found in the truck of a famous singer's car. Back now with Los Angeles police investigating the discovery of a severely decomposed female body in the trunk of a Tesla. Police say it appears the woman was dead for an extended period of time. The vehicle was impounded in Hollywood and is registered to the popular singer David, who is on tour. A second body was also found in a vehicle at a different tow yard in South LA. Sources say the two cases are not related.
We turn now to new concerns about protecting children online. A new set of whistleblowers now coming forward.
The metaverse has become the Wild West for criminals who prey on our children.
This morning, new claims that Meta, the parent company of Facebook and Instagram, is suppressing concerns about child safety. Two former Meta employees testified before a Senate committee, saying they uncovered evidence that children using the company's virtual reality products were being exploited. But they say what happened next was even more disturbing.
When our research uncovered that underage children using MetaVR in Germany were subject to demands for sex acts, nude photos, and other acts that no child should ever be exposed to, Meta demanded that we erase any evidence of such dangers that we saw.
The former employees are part of a whistleblower complaint, claiming Meta displays a jarring disinterest and unwillingness to improve its platform to avoid known harm, claiming the company deletes or alters research and ignores the prevalence of underage users, all in the name of profit.
Meta is aware that its VR platform is full of underage children. Meta purposely turns a blind eye to this knowledge, despite it being obvious to anyone using their products.
Meta dismisses the accusations as nonsense, saying the claims are based on selectively leaked internal documents that were picked specifically to craft a false narrative. Last year at this hearing on Capitol Hill, CEO Mark Zuckerberg turned around to apologize to parents of children harmed by social media. But he has touted the company's investments in child safety tools and parental supervision features.
Senators are renewing calls to pass the Kids Online Safety Act, which would mandate more parental controls and privacy protections for minors. The bill did pass the Senate last year, but was blocked in the House.
Coming up, growing concern about the so-called kissing bug disease. It's found in more states.
Also ahead, the man accusing billionaire actor and producer Tyler Perry of sexual assault breaks his silence.
A scare for the new health minister of Sweden. She collapsed at a news conference during her first day on the job. She left the room, but returned a few minutes later, blaming a drop in blood sugar. She is okay.
The CDC is raising concern about the spread of the potentially deadly kissing bug disease. It's transmitted by an insect known as the kissing bug because it tends to bite people in the mouth or face. The insect has been spotted in 32 states. 8 states have reported human infections, mostly in the South, from California to Texas and Tennessee. Symptoms include swollen eyelids and limbs and a severe allergic reaction.
Now to an ABC News exclusive. The man accusing billionaire actor and producer Tyler Perry of sexual assault breaking his silence, sitting down with our Lindsay Davis. Actor Derek Dixon says he met Tyler Perry at a party in 2019, where he says Perry gave him his number. The next year, he landed a role on Perry's BET series, The Oval.
Why are you yelling? I'm in this too.
The following year, Dixon claims he was invited to spend the night in Perry's guest house.
I got into bed and then I noticed that he climbed into bed with me as well and started rubbing my leg.
At the end of the second season, Dale gets shot in the chest 4 times. Why was that especially concerning for you?
What it meant to me was if I don't make him happy, I could stay dead on the show.
Dixon claims there was another incident at Perry's home in Atlanta in 2021.
He reached down and pulled my underwear down and grabbed my and I, tried to stop him and pull back my underwear up, and he kind of grabbed my arms and said, no, it's okay. Just go with it. And I said, stop, I don't want to be naked.
He says he distracted Perry and eventually locked himself in the bathroom. Dixon says the next day, Perry apologized and said he would help create a show that Dixon had written.
Yeah, it hasn't gone anywhere. He still owns the rights to it.
Dixon says he last spoke to Perry in spring of 2024. Then in January, he filed a complaint with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, an agency that protects workers from discrimination. A representative for Perry says Dixon then demanded a payment of more than $42 million.
You're asking in your lawsuit for damages totaling $260 million. How did you arrive at that number?
Part of that number is my lost job, my lost income, the loss of the show. The other part of that is a deterrent for, how do you stop a billionaire who won't stop themselves from doing this?
Perry has not yet responded in court filings, but his lawyer calls Dixon an individual who got close to Tyler Perry for what now appears to be nothing more than setting up a scam, and says Perry will not be shaken down. Perry's lawyer says he is confident the claims will be exposed as fabricated.
Coming up, Cracker Barrel is giving in again.
Plus, the UFO hearing on Capitol Hill that's turning heads. A closer look at this video that's in question.
Time to check the pulse, and we're going to begin with the previously classified video of a UFO that is raising questions.
Yeah, it was played publicly for the first time at a hearing on Capitol Hill, showing a U.S. drone tracking a glowing object flying off the coast of Yemen last year. Another American drone drops a missile on the object.
Oh!
It only manages to break off pieces of it, and it seems to fly away unfazed. Lawmakers questions members of the military.
Are you aware of anything in the government, United States government arsenal that can split a Hellfire missile like this?
No.
Does this video scare you guys? Yes or no?
Yes.
Wiggins?
Yes. Yes.
No official comment from the Pentagon, but life is pretty crazy when we're talking about UFOs and everybody's like, oh yeah, how about that?
But it is scaring us.
It flew away.
How can it not?
Next, Cracker Barrel doing another about face.
Not only is the chain keeping its old logo, it is also suspending plans to remodel its restaurants in response to customer backlash.
The old look and logo are here to stay.
All about what the customer wants, right?
It's true.
Next, speaking of what customers want, by the way, a new cookie from the Girl Scouts.
It's inspired by Rocky Road ice cream. The new cookies will be called Explore Moors and will feature chocolate, marshmallow, and toasted almond, filled with cream flavoring, of course. Sales begin in January. And finally, an uninvited guest with some very bad manners is running behind us, bursting into a home in Florida.
A 300-pound wild boar crashed through a sliding glass door, stood in the living room, and refused to leave, sticking around for about 40 minutes until the police arrived.
And as soon as I turned my head, there was this huge explosion. I mean, there was like something out of the Twilight Zone.
That just doesn't happen. And it did. Apparently not. That just doesn't happen, but apparently it does. Officers were hoping to hog-tie the boar, but it ran off.
By the way, we didn't add that music, they did. I guess the cops thought this was like some 90s action movie. But hey, if that boar wants to pay rent, let him stay.
Top headlines, next. Checking more top stories. Poland is on high alert after saying it shot down Russian drones in its airspace. Polish officials say they scrambled military jets and alerted NATO air defenses when the drones repeatedly entered its airspace during a Russian attack in neighboring Ukraine. Poland calling it an act of aggression by Moscow.
President Trump last night once again denies signing the so-called birthday book given to Jeffrey Epstein, calling the controversy nonsense. When asked if he considered meeting with Epstein's sexual abuse victims, the president said he hasn't thought about it.
In Alabama, prosecutors say a retired Auburn University professor murdered at a dog park was ambushed before being stabbed. The 28-year-old suspect is charged with capital murder, police saying it appears he did not know the victim.
Today's weather: rain in the northeast and in Florida, coastal flooding possible in the mid-Atlantic, flooding also possible in the Pacific Northwest.
And finally, happy birthday to an albino alligator.
Danny New introduces us to Claude.
Happy birthday. All month long, the Bay Area is celebrating the 30th birthday of its perhaps most beloved albino reptile, Claude.
He's got a Wikipedia page. Yeah, it's official.
That's when you know.
Emma Cosina here is a biologist at the California Academy of Sciences, where Claude has been the museum's biggest star since 2008.
I've gotten fan mail from Illinois, from kids.
It's estimated there are only about 100 albino alligators in the world, and Emma says it's quite hard for them to survive in the wild. For example, since his skin doesn't have melanin, Claude cannot do the thing alligators are known for.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Basking in the sun.
So Claude has a rock that's heated from underneath, so we don't need to put direct UV light on him.
With his favorite rock set to 85 degrees, Claude gets all the heat he needs. He also enjoys going for graceful swims, eating all kinds of fish, and what appears to be his favorite activity, getting scrubbed clean. Oh, that's a good spot.
He seems to be a pretty calm gator.
So calm, in fact, he can live alongside many fish and alligator snapping turtles in perfect harmony, which you can't always say for a 10-foot-long, 300-pound dinosaur who will go through thousands of teeth in his lifetime.
My prized tooth here was this one. Yeah.
That'll do it.
So the month-long festivities kicked off last weekend at a Golden State Valkyries WNBA game, as hundreds honored this soon-to-be 30-year-old legend with a giant hand chomp.
So guys, Claude's birthday is Monday. Museum is holding a big party for him Sunday, but if you can't make it, there is a 24/7 Claude cam at calacademy.org. Guys, look at him take that jaunt.
Yeah, I think that live stream will be on at many desks in our newsroom. What do you think?
I mean, Claude, you gotta love him.
That's your first look.
Have a great day, everyone.